Welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. Welcome back from the holidays. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Today we're going to look at some upcoming mints that I'm excited for. You probably heard of some of these projects already. I always get comments like, these projects aren't early enough, give us the earliest projects possible. But the market has changed a lot since the last cycle. People identify projects very quickly. They blow up within a matter of hours. And I think people underestimate how much time it takes to find a project, research it, talk to a team, write a script, film it, and have it edited, upload, all that. So if you want the fastest information possible, I suggest following me on Twitter. I'm going to post a ton more content there, cover a bunch of projects, especially early projects. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. It is just my opinion. And if you haven't already done so, would you kindly hit that subscribe button? So which projects are we going to look at today? Well, the market moves in trends, and when one thing does well, people tend to flock to that ecosystem or that chain or very similar projects, right? We had this recently with the whole Solana meme coin rush, where basically any coin on Solana was going wild. We've also seen this in the past with NFTs when Digidaigaku did well, and then Igor was blowing up, Sasha was blowing up for dimensionals. The same thing happened with Meme Land, where everything in Meme Land was going nuts, and then by extension, everything in the Yoga Pets ecosystem was going nuts, as well as like Taji Labs, Ear Pits, all of that. So the same thing is happening now with projects that are either related to Animoca or Seedify or Xterio. Another thing that I've noticed that people aren't going to be a fan of is the return of things like Dutch auctions, as well as a ton of projects doing pre-sales after the successful overworld pre-sale. So let's first start off by looking at some of the upcoming Seedify projects that I'm bullish on. We just had the mint for Animalia, which minted for 0.038 Ethereum, and it ran all the way up to 0.22. It has retraced. However, they do have an upcoming token. Another project is Cocody, which when Seedify mentioned that they're going to be incubating this one, the price ran from like 0.03 all the way up to 0.17. And same thing, they're also going to have a token that is going to be incubated by Seedify. So Seedify clearly has a lot of power in the current gaming market. And for full disclosure, I am a Seedify partner, but they do have a ton of great projects that are coming up. So the first one on the list is going to be Bloodloop, who just announced their whitelist campaign for their mint that is happening on January 22nd. Now, this is a gamified experience where you're split off into one of 4 different factions, and it does seem like the faction you're in is going to be able to steal the airdrop from other factions, but the only way to get access to this is through the NFT. So you can currently sign up on their website. I'll put a referral link in the description down below. There's a ton of social quests that you can complete in order to get more points, but this project has managed to garner a ton of hype. It's a free mint. There is a token airdrop, so they're literally giving you free money. And with Alex Becker publicly saying that he's invested into this project, a ton of people want to get their hands on it. So to me, this one is a no-brainer. The second project out of Seedify that is coming up very soon is Storm Warfare. I've spoken about this one a lot recently. They just had their tournament where they gave out like 50% of the whitelist spots. They also had a creators tournament, which I participated in. However, they will have their free mint as well as their token launch as early as January. So I am trying to get allocation for both of those because I personally really enjoy this game. I'm not usually a fan of trading card games, but the game is really fun. Now, the third project out of Seedify that's going to have a mint is Farcana. You've probably already heard about this project as they recently had their Polygon mint, which ran all the way up to 1.9 ETH for a free mint, which is absolutely insane returns if you manage to get whitelist or if you bought it on secondary, because it opened up at like 0.5 and then it pulled a 4x. However, they are going to have another mint in the near future for a BRC20, so on Bitcoin, and the supply of this is going to be 333. Now, with such a low supply, it is going to be very hard to get your hands on one of these whitelist spots. I do assume a majority of the spots are going to be going to their Polygon NFT holders, but low supply, free mint, and you're getting a token airdrop just by holding this NFT. So 3 no-brainers, in my opinion, out of Seedify. Next up, we have the projects that are partnered or backed by Animoca brands, which have been performing incredibly well, especially with all all the token airdrop speculation. However, the one that we're looking at today is called Way to Gods. Now, if we jump on the Mhaya website, you'll see that this is the second season of 4 seasons that they're building in their whole universe. And I know the team is saying this is not a Gen 2 drop, it's a brand completely on its own. However, the market is the market and they're just going to do what they do. So people are going to look to the first drop and see if that one was successful to determine what the potential is for the second drop. Now, luckily for them, the floor price of Mhaya is sitting above 1 Ethereum, which is a very bullish signal. And while we don't know too many details on the Way to Gods project, I do know they have been working on a movie for 2 years called Looking for Gods, which will be launching in 2024. And the company working on the artwork is the same that did the art for Kung Fu Panda, as well as cinematics for Final Fantasy and God of War. Now, they also recently soft revealed that their Web 2 partner for this project is Alibaba, which, to be honest, I don't know what that partnership entails, but it is good that they have a strong Web 2 partner. Maybe Alibaba is funding the development of the movie, or maybe it's going to have something to do with merch or physical products. But either way, always good to have a very strong partner. Now, the other question I got asked a lot was, is this going to be related to the Lucium token, which is the token that's going to be dropped for the Mhaya NFTs? And unfortunately, it's not. However, when I asked them if Way to Gods is going to have its own token, while they didn't confirm it, they also didn't deny it. And since they say this isn't a Gen 2 project, it's IP completely on its own, it would make sense for this collection to have a separate token than the Mhaya collection. So this is one of the projects that's exploring doing pre-sales with different communities. I'm personally locking down spots for my community, Guerrilla Labs, and a lot of the conversations I'm seeing going on about this is that people are bullish about it, especially with the Genesis collection sitting above 1 Ethereum. And my personal opinion on it is that this is a good play with the price of these. I believe it's 0.08 ETH and the Genesis sitting above 1 Ethereum, especially if they're going to have their own token. In my opinion, not financial advice, just my opinion, the odds are good that this is not going to go under its mint price. So I'm personally going to do pre-sale. I don't think it's a bad play if you can afford to lock up your liquid for however long it's going to take them to get to their mint. But I'm definitely keen on getting some Way to God spots. Next up, we have the projects that are under the Xterio brand. Especially with Overworld doing so well, it pulled like a 20x after their mint. They're currently sitting at roughly a 15x on the secondary market. So if we take a look on the Xterio website, people seem to be focused on the first party games, although they do have a ton of third party games that look awesome. Here they have 3 projects from Age of Dino to 3T and Palio. Now, the one that is minting the soonest is going to be Age of Dino. This one is dropping on January 10th. I actually just wrote a very detailed thread on this one, so if you want to jump over to my Twitter and find out more about this project, I'll put a link for that in the description down below. However, what I can tell you about their sale is they are going to be doing a Dutch auction for 80% of their supply. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I know a lot of people, myself included, aren't the biggest fans of Dutch auctions. I do feel that because an auction lasts for so long, it takes away some of the hype. You know, we're very impatient in Web3. We want things right away. We want to know what the floor price is right away, if it's going to be flippable. So I do view it as a risk when you do these kind of Dutch auctions, especially if it has like a complicated method. 1,000 of them are going to be going for 0.2. The rest of them are going to be a Dutch auction from 0.6 all the way down to 0.2. And the other thing you have to consider is if these manage to sell out for 0.6 Ethereum, that was a much higher mint price for people to get in compared to something like Overworld, which was only 0.15 Ethereum. So I do feel like when there's a higher mint price, people are more likely to flip for less profits because they're worried if the project does go into the negative, they're going to start to lose money. Versus something like Overworld, it's at 1.5, 2 ETH, they're more comfortable holding it thinking, oh, this can continue to run because they have 1.5 ETH of leeway where the floor would have to tank so much before they actually lose money. But regardless of that, people do seem very bullish about this project, especially Jeremy, who I have this message from his Discord where he does say Age of Dino is gonna cook, which got a ton of people riled up and scrambling to get their hands on whitelist. And one of the utilities for the PFP is indeed an airdrop for both of their tokens because this project is going to have 2 tokens. And I must say, the game itself does look really good. I'm personally a huge fan of Jurassic Park. So whenever it comes to dinosaurs and stuff like that, I'm on board. I'm a huge fan. Now, like I mentioned, there are other games. There's 3T, which I have covered in the past, so I won't go too much into detail. I know they're exploring different supplies with their collection. It was supposed to be a small supply. As far as I know, it still is a small supply, as well as a free mint. But during my AMA with Jeremy, he did express that he doesn't like free mints, so maybe they're going to make it a paid mint. I'm not sure, don't take my word for that or anything. And the other project that's on this list is Palio, for which we have no details. The only thing we know is that it's a game that's going to be using AI technology somehow. So I'll definitely try to find out more about these projects. I would also recommend getting whitelisted for these projects, especially if Age of Dino does well. It's going to be back-to-back wins for the Xterio platform, and people are really going to be scrambling to get anything on the Xterio website. Now let's talk about some projects that I'm excited for that aren't under one of these three umbrellas. The first of which is Tin Fun by Lasercat. Now this is an IP play, so they are trying to bring great experiences to their users. The first of which is through their website, for which I'm a very big fan of. You guys know I have a web development background. I spent 8 years building sites, so whenever I see a site that somebody put a lot of effort into, I really appreciate it. It's what drew me into projects like Azuki and KPR, which both performed extremely well, especially if you had whitelist. So overall, I dig their website. They clearly put a lot of effort into it. I like their use of sound, music, the animations, colors, all that. I also do find these two characters quite hilarious, just listening to them speak. But if we scroll a little bit further, you do get to see what their art is going to look like, and personally, I'm a fan. Now, they also went ahead and developed their own game called Pew Pew, where you have to clear the board by matching 3 identical items, and you win by getting rid of every single piece. They did give away whitelist. I believe they gave away 2,000 spots through this game. So just by playing this game, you were able to earn whitelist, which brings us to the supply of this collection, which is on the large side. It is a 10K supply, and it is minting for 0.1 Ethereum. And I know some people are going to find that on the larger side, but you have to consider this project is aimed towards the Asian market, which is a completely different beast. So I do think this is going to catch people by surprise. The other thing you have to consider is their Genesis collection sits at currently an 8.8 ETH floor, with the highest recent sale, I believe, was around 6 Ethereum, and a ton of sales at 4 ETH. So I think most of these are staked anyways, but with a very high and successful Genesis collection, I do think these can perform very well, and they're going to catch people by surprise. So I'm happy that we managed to lock down a collab for my group, Guerrilla Labs, and I do look forward to this mint. Next up, we have Mhaya, which are building the Web3 version of Monopoly. So an NFT-based play-to-earn digital board game. Now, the game is actually available to test right now through the Test Flight app, which is like the mobile version to beta test games. And that's both on iOS and Android. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link to that in the description down below. I actually tested it out myself. It plays really well, especially if you're a fan of those types of games. Basically, just like Monopoly, you roll a dice, you make your way around the board with your character, and from there you could build properties on the board. You could also build your own city outside of the board, and then you could do things like attack other players, play mini games to earn their token, and so on. Now, speaking of their token, they're going to have 2. The first one is the Mhaya token, which you could only get by earning it through the game, and then you can use it for things like buying buildings and building up your city. And their second token is going to be the Mhaya token, which is their governance token, and the only ways to get your hands on this are either by buying it on the secondary market or by trading in your Mhaya tokens, again, which you earn by playing the game. So it is a play to earn game. Now, they are going to have a low supply. It is a free mint, so a ton of people are trying to get their hands on it, and this one is minting on the Polygon blockchain. So I would definitely try to get whitelist for this collection. Now, another one a lot of people are talking about is Playember. I'm seeing many people compare this to a collection that recently minted called AOFverse. I'm not sure if it's just because it's a similar collab team, or maybe due to the supply. It's going to be roughly a 2,000 to 2,500 supply collection, and it's also going to be a free mint. And if you know AOFers, it did really well for a free mint. It went from free all the way up to 0.85 Ethereum. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the details about this drop because I will be releasing a more detailed video in the near future. However, on their website here, they do flex that they have 120 million downloads for their mobile games with 5 million monthly active users. So I would personally try to get whitelisted for this collection because I do think it is going to perform well. It's a free mint, like I said, so there's no risk. And we did manage to get spots for this in my community, Guerrilla Labs, as well as the previous one I spoke of, Mhaya. Next up, we have a new one that just popped up called Pixel Pals. We don't know too much information about it just yet, other than the fact that this is a game out of Pixelmon. So I'm not sure if they're going to have their own mint for this collection or if you're just going to use your Pixelmon NFTs. However, in their Twitter, they do use the Mon ticker, which is the Pixelmon token that's coming up, as well as the hashtag farm to farm. So perhaps this is going to be a game where you could farm their token early and secure your very own airdrop or allocation for it. They also mention that it's going to be on Mantle. So if you're farming the Mantle airdrop like I am, this is potentially going to help you get your transaction volume and size up, which is always a good thing if you're farming because it's a new contract and it looks like real transactions versus just looking like a Cybele. Last but not least, this one, I don't believe it's a game. Most of these on today's list were games because that's just the meta, but this is a Solana project called Crypto Undeads. And I really have no information to tell you about this. I don't know who's behind it. I don't know what they're doing. I just dig the aesthetic and I dig the art so far. And I am seeing this one blow up. So it's definitely one I would try to get whitelisted for. Again, I don't have any info, so I don't know if it's a rug. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm trying to get in touch with the team and I'm trying to get a collab for this collection. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. There's so many projects that I want to talk about, way more than what I mentioned today, but I'm so limited in what I can do with videos. I'm going to be trying to do much shorter videos and just more videos about individual projects, especially for Twitter, because short videos work a lot better on Twitter than long videos. Like I'm sure 99% of you who watched till this far in a video are probably watching on YouTube. Let me know in the comments down below where you're watching. But like I said, I'm going to start posting a lot more information, early projects, all that on Twitter. So if you want much faster information, be sure to follow me there. If you haven't already done so, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification. Thank you for watching today's video. Peace.